1967, the Copa Room, Sands Hotel, Las Vegas, 10:43 p.m. Dean Martin was halfway through Return to Me when he saw her. Front row, third seat from the aisle. A woman in a wedding dress, full white gown, lace veil pushed back, mascara streaking down her face in black rivers, sobbing. Dean stopped singing mid-verse. The band kept playing for 3 seconds, confused, then trailed off into silence. The audience, about 800 people packed into the intimate Copa Room, noticed Dean had stopped. Heads turned, following his gaze to the crying bride in the front row. Dean put down his microphone, walked to the edge of the stage, looked directly at her. The woman looked up, realized Dean Martin was staring at her, and her crying got worse. She tried to cover her face with her hands, tried to hide, but Dean's voice cut through the silence like a knife through smoke. "Ma'am, are you okay?" The woman shook her head. No, not okay. Dean could see it. Everyone could see it. This woman was supposed to be on her honeymoon, supposed to be having the happiest night of her life. Instead, she was sitting alone in a wedding dress, crying her eyes out at a Dean Martin show. The seat next to her, empty. Dean made a decision in that moment, a decision that would turn this woman's worst night into something she'd remember forever. He looked at the band, then back at the crying bride, and Dean Martin said 7 words that made 800 people hold their breath. "Tonight, sweetheart, I'm going to be your groom." To understand why what Dean did that night was so extraordinary, you need to understand what Angela Martinez had been through that day, and you need to understand what the Copa Room meant in 1967. The Copa Room was the premier showroom at the Sands Hotel. Intimate, held about 800 people, but what it lacked in size, it made up for prestige. This was where the Rat Pack performed, where Dean, Frank, and Sammy did their legendary shows. The Copa Room was elegant, sophisticated, the kind of place where you dressed up, had dinner and drinks, watched world-class entertainment. Getting tickets to a Dean Martin show at the Copa Room wasn't easy. Shows sold out weeks in advance. Tickets were expensive, $25, $30, which was real money in 1967. The audience was typically couples, tourists celebrating anniversaries, high rollers from the casino, Vegas locals who could afford the ticket price. On this night, September 14, 1967, the Copa Room was packed. Dean's 10 p.m. show, second show of the night. The audience was in a great mood. Dean was on fire, singing, joking, working the crowd with that effortless charm that made him a star. But in the front row, third seat from the aisle, sat Angela Martinez, 24 years old. And Angela was crying. Angela Martinez had grown up in Phoenix, Arizona, Catholic family, traditional upbringing. She'd met Michael Romano when she was 21. He was handsome, charming, from a good Italian family. Their parents approved. After 2 years of dating, Michael proposed. The wedding was planned for September 14, 1967. Big Catholic ceremony, 200 guests. Angela wore her mother's wedding dress, altered to fit. Everything was perfect. The ceremony went smoothly. Angela and Michael said their vows, exchanged rings, kissed. Everyone applauded. They were married. The reception was beautiful. Dancing, toasts, cake. Angela was so happy. This was everything she dreamed of. Around 8 p.m., Angela and Michael left the reception. They were staying at a hotel near the church that night, then driving to Las Vegas the next morning for their honeymoon. A week at the Sands Hotel. Dean Martin was performing. Angela had always loved Dean Martin. Michael had surprised her with tickets to Dean's show as part of the honeymoon. Angela was thrilled. They got to their hotel room around 9 p.m. when Angela was changing out of her wedding dress when Michael said he needed to talk to her. Angela could hear something in his voice, something wrong. She sat down on the bed, still in her wedding dress. "What is it?" Michael wouldn't look at her. "Angela, I need to tell you something. I should have told you before, but I couldn't. I was too scared." Angela's heart started racing. "Angela, what are you talking about?" "I don't love you." The words hit Angela like a physical blow. "What?" "I don't love you. I never did. Not the way I should. I married you because our families expected it, because you're a good Catholic girl, because it was the right thing to do. But I'm not in love with you." Angela couldn't breathe.
This was a joke, a cruel joke. "Michael, stop. This isn't funny." "I'm not joking. There's someone else. I've been seeing her for 6 months. I'm in love with her, and I can't do this anymore. I can't pretend." Angela stood up. Her legs were shaking. "You've been cheating on me for 6 months while we were planning our wedding?" Michael finally looked at her. "I'm sorry. I know I should have told you before, but I couldn't. And now I can't go through with this. I can't go to Vegas and pretend to be happy. I can't keep lying. We just got married 4 hours ago. We said vows in front of God, in front of our families." "I know, and I'm sorry, but I can't do this." Michael grabbed his suitcase, started packing. Angela watched, frozen, not believing this was happening. "Where are you going?" "To her, to Jennifer. I should have married her. I'm sorry, Angela. I really am." Michael left, just walked out of the hotel room, left Angela standing there in her wedding dress, abandoned on her wedding night. Angela collapsed on the bed and sobbed for hours. She couldn't call her parents, couldn't face telling them, couldn't face the humiliation. Around 11 p.m., Angela made a decision, a crazy decision. She couldn't stay in that hotel room. She'd lose her mind. So she got in her car, still wearing her wedding dress, and drove. She drove through the night from Phoenix to Las Vegas, 5 hours, crying the entire way. Angela arrived in Vegas around 4 a.m., checked into the Sands Hotel, the same hotel where she and Michael were supposed to stay for their honeymoon. She used the reservation Michael had made, room 847. Angela slept for a few hours, woke up around noon, and the reality hit her again. She was alone in Vegas, on her honeymoon, abandoned by her husband. Angela spent the day in her room crying, not eating, not knowing what to do. Around 9 p.m., Angela remembered the Dean Martin tickets. Michael had bought tickets for tonight's show, 2 tickets. Angela looked at the tickets on the nightstand, and she thought, "I can't waste these. I paid for this honeymoon. Michael destroyed everything else, but I'm not going to let him destroy this, too." So Angela did something that seemed insane. She put her wedding dress back on, did her makeup, and went to the Dean Martin show, alone. She got there around 9:45 p.m., found her seat, front row, 3rd from the aisle. The seat next to her, Michael's seat, was empty. The show started at 10 p.m. Dean walked out on stage. The audience applauded. Dean started singing, and Angela started crying. She couldn't help it. Every love song reminded her of Michael. Every romantic lyric felt like a knife. The empty seat next to her was a constant reminder she'd been abandoned. People around Angela noticed. A woman sitting next to her tried to comfort her, asked if she was okay. Angela couldn't speak, just shook her head. No, not okay. Dean's voice was gentle. "What happened, sweetheart?" Angela tried to speak, couldn't form words, too many tears. The woman sitting next to Angela spoke up. Her husband left her today, on their wedding night. She drove here alone. The audience gasped. 800 people reacting to this revelation, the horror of it, the cruelty. Dean stood there, processing. His face went through several emotions: shock, anger, sadness. Then Dean made his decision. He turned to the band. "Boys, clear some space." The band members looked confused, but started moving equipment to the sides. Dean looked back at Angela. "What's your name, sweetheart?" Angela's voice was barely a whisper. "Angela." "Beautiful name." Dean paused. "Angela, I need you to do something for me. I need you to come up here." Angela's eyes went wide. "What? No, I can't."
Dean was about halfway through Return to Me, a beautiful romantic song, when he noticed Angela. He was singing about love and reunion and coming back, and in the front row, a bride was sobbing. Dean stopped singing mid-verse. The band kept playing for a moment, confused, then stopped. The Copa room went silent, 800 people watching. Dean walked to the edge of the stage. He looked at Angela, really looked at her, saw the wedding dress, the tears, the empty seat next to her. And Dean understood. Something terrible had happened to this woman. "Ma'am, are you okay?" Angela looked up, realized Dean Martin was talking to her. She tried to stop crying, couldn't, shook her head. "No, not okay." Dean's voice was gentle. "What happened, sweetheart?" Angela tried to speak, couldn't form words, too many tears. The woman sitting next to Angela spoke up. Her husband left her. Today, on their wedding night, she drove here alone. The audience gasped. 800 people reacting to this revelation, the horror of it, the cruelty. Dean stood there, processing. His face went through several emotions: shock, anger, sadness. Then Dean made his decision. He turned to the band. "Boys, clear some space." The band members looked confused, but started moving equipment to the sides of the stage. Dean looked back at Angela. "What's your name, sweetheart?" Angela's voice was barely a whisper. "Angela. Angela. Beautiful name." Dean paused. "Angela, I need you to do something for me. I need you to come up here." Angela's eyes went wide. "What? No, I can't." "Yes, you can. Come on." Dean extended his hand. The entire Copa room watched, waiting. Angela didn't move. She was terrified, humiliated. Everyone was staring. Dean's voice got softer, more intimate, like he was talking just to her, even though 800 people could hear. "Angela, listen to me. Your husband walked out on you. That's on him, not on you. That man is an idiot. But you're here, and I'm here, and we've got 800 good people here who are on your side. So here's what we're going to do tonight. I'm going to be your groom, and we're going to give you the wedding celebration you deserve. Deal?" Angela stared at Dean, not believing what she was hearing. Dean Martin, her favorite singer, one of the biggest stars in the world, was offering to be her groom for the night. Slowly, Angela stood up. Her legs were shaking. Dean kept his hand extended, encouraging, waiting. Angela walked to the stage stairs. Dean met her there, took her hand, helped her up onto the stage. The audience applauded. Not polite applause, real, emotional applause. 800 people supporting this heartbroken bride. Dean walked Angela to center stage. She looked out at all those faces, all those people looking at her, and Angela wanted to run, wanted to hide. But Dean squeezed her hand. "You're okay. I got you." Dean turned to the audience. "Ladies and gentlemen, this is Angela. Today was supposed to be the best day of her life, her wedding day, but it turned into the worst day. Her husband walked out, left her alone on their wedding night. Can you believe that?" The audience reacted with boos, angry murmurs, outrage on Angela's behalf. Dean continued, "So we're going to fix that right now. Angela came all the way to Vegas to see this show. She's not going to remember tonight as the night her husband abandoned her. She's going to remember it as the night Dean Martin danced with her at her wedding." Dean signaled the band. They started playing a slow, romantic song. Dean looked at Angela. "May I have this dance?" Angela couldn't speak. Tears were streaming down her face again, but she nodded. Dean put his arm around her waist, took her hand in his, and they danced. Dean Martin and Angela Martinez, on stage, in front of 800 people. Dean sang as they danced, not to the audience, to Angela, looking right at her, making every word feel personal, intimate, just for her. And as they danced, something happened to Angela. The pain didn't disappear, the humiliation didn't vanish, but for the first time since Michael had walked out, Angela felt something other than devastation. She felt valued, seen, worthy. Dean Martin, who could have ignored her, who could have finished his show and moved on, had stopped everything for her, had made her the center of attention, had treated her like she mattered. When the song ended, the audience gave them a standing ovation. 800 people on their feet, clapping, some crying. Dean hugged Angela, whispered in her ear, "You're going to be okay, kid. Better than okay, because any man who walks away from you is too stupid to deserve you." Angela laughed through her tears. Thank you so much." Dean kept Angela on stage for the rest of the show. He dedicated every song to her. Between songs, he'd check on her, make her laugh, make her feel special. At one point, Dean told the audience, "You know what your ex-husband's name is? Michael. So from now on, every time I sing a love song, I'm going to replace every you with Angela, and every time I would normally sing about missing someone or wanting someone back, I'm going to sing about how Michael is an idiot." The audience loved it, and Angela, sitting in a chair Dean had brought out for her, laughed harder than she'd laughed in months. Dean finished his show around midnight. Normally, he'd walk off stage, wave, and leave. But tonight, Dean stayed. He took Angela by the hand and walked her back to her seat. "You're okay, sweetheart?" Angela nodded. "I am, thank you. I don't know how to thank you." "You just did. Now listen, you're going to go back to Phoenix. You're going to hold your head high, because you did nothing wrong. That guy, he's going to regret this for the rest of his life. But you're going to be fine. Better than fine." Dean kissed her forehead. "Take care of yourself, Angela." Dean walked off stage to thunderous applause. Angela sat there for a long time. Other audience members came up to her, hugged her, told her they were sorry, told her Michael was an idiot, gave her their phone numbers and addresses, like, "If you ever need anything." Angela drove back to Phoenix the next day. She had to face her family, had to tell them what happened. It was hard, humiliating.
But Angela held her head high, just like Dean told her to. The marriage was annulled. Michael married Jennifer 3 months later. But Angela was okay. Better than okay. Because whenever she thought about her wedding day, she didn't just remember Michael walking out. She remembered Dean Martin dancing with her, singing to her, treating her like she was the most important person in the world. 6 years later, 1973, Angela Martinez, now Angela Castellano, was living in San Diego, happily married to a man named Robert who treated her like a queen. She had 2 kids, a good life. One day, Angela was reading the newspaper and saw that Dean Martin was performing in San Diego, the Civic Theater, one night only. Angela bought a ticket. She didn't tell anyone why, didn't explain to Robert that she had a history with Dean Martin, however brief. She just went. The show was wonderful. Dean was older now, a little slower, but still magnetic, still the king of cool. After the show, Angela did something she'd never done before. She went to the stage door. There were about 20 people waiting, fans hoping for autographs. Angela waited with them. When Dean came out, he was tired, polite but distant, signing autographs quickly, not really looking at anyone. He got to Angela, started to sign her program without looking up. "Dean," Angela said quietly, "I don't know if you remember me, but—" Dean looked up, stopped mid-signature, stared at her face, and then his eyes widened. "Angela?" She nodded, tears already forming. Dean's face broke into the biggest smile. "Angela from Vegas? The bride?" "Yes." Dean dropped the pen, pulled her into a hug, a real hug. "How are you, sweetheart? Tell me you're happy. Tell me that idiot Michael is a distant memory."
Angela laughed, crying, "I'm married to a wonderful man. 2 kids. I'm really happy, Dean." "Good, that's what I wanted to hear." Dean held her at arm's length, studying her face. "You look beautiful. You look happy." "I am. And Dean, I never got to properly thank you. What you did that night, you saved me. I was drowning and you pulled me out. I'll never forget it." Dean's eyes got misty. "Angela, I didn't do anything special. I just saw someone hurting and tried to help. It was everything to me." Dean hugged her again. "I'm glad you're okay, kid. Really glad." They talked for 10 more minutes. Angela introduced him to Robert, who'd been waiting in the car. Dean shook his hand. "You take care of this one," Dean told Robert. "She's special." "I know, every day." As Angela walked away, Dean called after her, "Angela." She turned. "Remember what I told you that night, that you'd be better than okay?" She nodded. "I was right, wasn't I?" Angela smiled through her tears. "Yes, Dean, you were right." 1995. Dean Martin died on Christmas Day, December 25th. Angela, now 52, heard the news and cried like she'd lost a member of her family. She wrote a letter to Dean's children, told them the whole story of that night in 1967, how their father had stopped his show, danced with her, given her a memory that sustained her through the darkest time of her life. She ended the letter, "Your father was a great entertainer, but more than that, he was a great man. He saw a stranger in pain and stopped everything to help her. He didn't have to do that, but he did, and it changed my life. I want you to know that." Dean's daughter, Deanna Martin, wrote back, "Thank you for sharing this story. It's exactly who my father was. He never talked about these moments. He didn't think they were worth mentioning, but they're what made him special. Not the fame, not the success, the kindness he showed to people when they needed it most." The lesson of Dean and Angela isn't about grand gestures. It's simpler than that. When you see someone in pain, you stop, you help, you make them feel valued. Dean Martin could have ignored the crying bride, could have finished his song, could have dedicated one song to her and moved on. But Dean did more. He stopped his entire show, made Angela the center of attention, gave her a memory that would last forever. That's compassion.